Welcome to the 5 at 5 following Arsenal's win at Newcastle, avenging last season's horrible defeat. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 2. And for me, one of Arsenal's best performances, if not Arsenal's best performance this season. It gave us everything. Goals, good counter-attacking, good defending, resolute, real fight from the team. I absolutely love this performance. So let's talk about it. Let's get into my 5 at 5. Where else can I start other than the record equaler, not quite breaker, Martin Erdogan. What a brilliant performance from him in a game where we were really up against it. Martin Erdogan took control and stepped up. He, by scoring that brilliant goal that just completely turned the tide of the game, equaled a Premier League record for goals, for non-penalty goals from a central midfielder in a Premier League season, up at 15. Now let's put that into context. 15 goals, that's just 3 short of what strikers have won the Golden Boot with in this league. I mean, it's an unbelievable return from Martin Erdogan. 15 goals in 34 games, and all of those goals have come from an expected goals calculation of less than 9. That is some going. Talk about overperformance. You know, earlier on in the season, I remember a lot of people talking about Erdogan having the Özil gene and not wanting to shoot. He has really put that right. And it's a credit to him because clearly it was a weakness in his game that a few of us picked up on, but he's gone and addressed it and he's shown that willingness to shoot. He could and should have probably had another goal in the game where he did brilliantly well, but Nick Pope saved that shot, which was actually a much better chance than the goal that he scored. But the timing of his goal as well was so important. And sometimes you need a player like Martin Erdogan, who in this young team is looked at as being one of the more senior players and is the captain, to say, do you know what, I'm just going to give it a go. Letting fly from 27 yards. I mean, look, we've seen him do it before. We saw him do it against Tottenham away. He's scored some crucial goals for Arsenal, and he is now becoming one of the top midfielders in the Premier League and a complete player. With the work that he does off the ball, with his brilliant technical ability, his ability to control the tempo and pass and move, and now adding goals to his game. An absolute must for team of the season, and in terms of player of the season, where there's only other one Norwegian that can beat him. But listen, Martin Erdogan has had an unbelievable season. Well done, our captain. Number 2, you have to fight for the right to win games in this Premier League, especially away from home, especially against tough opposition. And that's exactly what Arsenal did yesterday. So for all of the good counter-attacking, that whole performance, that whole result was based on fight. And you know what? It's one of those things where it's hard to prove when a player isn't fighting. But when you see all of your team fighting, it's very easy to see. Now, I said yesterday that was embodied by Granit Xhaka in the 59th minute when he got back into the penalty area facing his own goal when Joe Willock's eyes lit up and it would have been a certain goal. But for Granit Xhaka tracking back, working hard and getting his foot in front of the ball. It was my favourite moment of the match and something that Granit Xhaka hasn't done very well in recent years. But in this more attacking position, he does a lot better. And the reason why I think that is that Granit Xhaka switches off. It's not that he doesn't want to take the effort. He always has wanted to take the effort. But when he's in a defensive position for the vast majority of the game, he's got that tendency to switch off. When he's in a more attacking position and he's doing less defending, I feel like his mind's much more on it. And that moment was a huge moment in the game and one that I loved seeing. But it wasn't just him. Even if you look at when Newcastle hit the post for the second time with Alexander Isak on this occasion, Ben White was tracking him every step of the way, meaning Isak had to try and make contact with that ball a lot quicker rather than being able to direct it across goal. Now, if it wasn't for Ben White doing the right thing, even when he knows he wasn't going to get the ball, that's a much better chance for Alexander Isak. It was things like that in the game where I talk about fight and earning the right to win the game. Martinelli, he tracked back so well. Erdogan always does. Saka, it was a really good team performance. Some teams go up to Newcastle and have to refund the fans after the result. Not Arsenal. We did the business and the team fought. They deserve to be paid double. Brilliant performance from the team. Love to see it. Number 3, a tale of 2 keepers. 2 top keepers, in fact. Aaron Ramsdale and Nick Pope. For me, have been the standout keepers in the league this season. Yep, Ederson obviously was probably going to win the league with Man City, but for me, he doesn't get into team of the season. It's got to be Ramsdale or Pope. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, who you would put in for team of the season. But yesterday, what we saw, Ramsdale saving from Willock and Shah with an unbelievable save, and Pope saving from Martinelli, from Saka, from Erdogan. If it wasn't for these two keepers, this game could have had loads of goals in it. But they both performed brilliantly and showed why these two guys have been the best keepers in the Premier League this season, in my view. Ramsdale, for me, just shades it to Nick Pope. Some of his saves in really, really important moments in different games this season have been unbelievable. For example, Bournemouth at home, Atara comes to mind, or from Villa away when I think Leon Bailey had that chance and Ramsdale pulled off an unbelievable save. Obviously, Newcastle fans will be able to put out their own examples for Nick Pope, but my choice is Aaron Ramsdale, but I've got to give credit to both Ramsdale and Pope. It's crazy to me, these two keepers doing so well, both English, yet none of them are England's number one. Instead, Pickford, who surely his days have got to be numbered if these two carry on playing like this. Pickford could easily be a number 3, but it's a good time for England when it comes to goal. Number 4, top 2 confirmed. And look, I know finishing second is nothing to sing about, nothing to get excited about, but it does go back to that age-old question that every Arsenal fan is saying right now, at the start of the season, would you have taken this? Now, it's not to say I would have taken finishing second and no trophy, but at the start of the season, I would have been very, very surprised if someone had said to me, we're going to finish second. Well, there's still a chance of first, but let's just go with second because I can't see Man City bottling it from here. Now, it is a brilliant, brilliant return from Arsenal considering where we finished last season, how last season ended, but there is that disappointment. I can't lie, there still is that disappointment. In any case, credit to the team for finishing second, and hopefully next season we can go one better. Put in the comments below where you thought Arsenal would finish this season. I wasn't sort of confident or that certain about top 4, and Arsenal have proved me wrong so much all season really by doing so well to finish second. I didn't even think we'd win at St James's Park, and Arsenal went and proved me wrong there. Long may it continue. I can't imagine Arsenal winning the league next season, but fingers crossed with Arsenal's track record of proving me wrong, I really, really hope we can go and convert what might be a second place finish this season to a first place finish next season. You've got to hand it to the boys. A really, really good performance this season. Unfortunately, just not enough in the final 8 games. Number 5, I've got to talk about Geordie irony. Honestly, this one is just making me laugh. Newcastle fans complaining about Arsenal holding onto the ball a bit too much, not getting the game started, game management, little fouls. Come on, Newcastle. Who are you to talk? Let me give you some stats and also remind you of the fact that when you guys came to Arsenal earlier on this season, the ball was only in play for 43 minutes and 17 seconds out of the 90 minutes. Are you guys mad? No one has got the right from the Newcastle camp to complain about what Arsenal did in yesterday's game. And when you did it, you couldn't even get the win. When we've done it, we've kept a clean sheet at your place and taken all 3 points. And let me just share these stats with you as well. So, average delay time before goal kicks. Arsenal are the 8th quickest in the league. Newcastle are the slowest. So what are you talking about? What teams spend the most time with the ball in play? Arsenal 11th, Newcastle 20th. So what are you talking about? Delay time before restarting play. Arsenal 10th quickest in the league. Guess what? Newcastle slowest again. Come on. You've got to keep quiet sometimes, Newcastle. You guys do it every single week. So when it gets done to you, shush. Thank you very much for watching the 5 at 5. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Appreciate you watching. Arsenal, a performance to be proud of. Hopefully now Man City go through the mire with Real Madrid and are very, very fatigued for their next league game. But listen, I keep on talking about it. Don't think for a second I expect anything to change. But let's make the season interesting. Even if Man City drop points just once before the final day, it goes into a final day decider. And I'd quite like to see that. Take care. See you next time.